Topic 3. Legion.
Legion. Yeah.
All right.
Do either of you guys read Legion?
No, sir.
Not right now.
Me neither. I've never read it. So.
Okay.
I think it's based loosely on the comics, though, from what I read.
Very loosely.
So Casey, me and Corey have been gushing to each other about the show so far.
Okay.
And it seems like you started out when me and you were talking that you got some issues with it or whatnot. I found, especially like for myself, I think there's two different things to kind of talk about from the games, comics, and culture perspective. One is that it's an X-Men show, and then the
first X-Men show.
Yeah, right. And then also the flip side of that is, like, to me, like, I felt like in correct me if I'm wrong, but I felt like the way that this movie or this TV show, at least episode 1, was directed and whatnot, that it almost like I said on Facebook the next day, like it to me, it almost draws more comparisons to like a Kubrick movie, or I doubt either you have watched it, but the old 60s TV show, The Prisoner. You seen The Prisoner, Casey? No? So it totally, The Prisoner is an action show that is, it's filmed the same sort of way, where it's stream of consciousness. You're not really sure what's current, what's crazy. The guy's constantly getting drugged and things like that, and and they mix up the what's real versus what's in his head, and then they mix up the timeline all at the same time or whatnot. And I thought, as Corey was saying, like, as I was watching the show, I kept on thinking to myself, is this cheesy or is this good? Is it cheesy or is it good? Is it what's going on? And, there reached a point about halfway through the show, I was talking to the wife and she was like, well, it's both. You're right. And I was like, yeah, okay, it probably is. And, but there was a point halfway through the show. So again, we're going full spoilers here, everybody. We didn't do our spoiler countdown. So check out, if you haven't, go watch Legion and come back and watch this. But, yeah, right. But the point in the show when he was in the swimming pool telling the agent his memory, and she implanted herself into his memory to tell him what to do at that moment.
She didn't somebody put her. Somebody didn't implant herself.
Yeah, like, so that whole moment when all that happened, I was like, okay, that's so cool. I don't even care if it's cheesy or good or not.
So that was the high point for you?
No, I just felt like that was a point where I was like, okay, there's enough good here that I'm not going to nitpick it anymore. I'm just going to kind of sit back and enjoy it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, just that kind of storyline kind of really impressed me. And then the rest of it, like I say, cheesy, good, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Like, again, I know you said you seemed like you had some criticisms of it. So what's your thought around it?
So obviously I'm big on movies, and this show so far has reminded me of several movies. In the intro, you get to see kind of like a quick like credit sequence, almost flashback of him like struggling with his mutant abilities as a kid, and he's been kind of terrorized by it, and it makes sense why he's in a mental institution, because he doesn't understand it and no one else understands it. But obviously things have happened that are weird, and people just kind of brush it off as him hallucinating. Then the show, and I thought the stuff in the insane asylum was pretty interesting, and movies like that, like Lumful of the Cuckoo's Nest and stuff like that, are really interesting because you get to see a wide variety of quirks and characters, and they're all kind of explained by the setting. But then the show kind of turns into a little love story for like 10 minutes. And it reminded me of this movie, this indie movie called It's Kind of a Funny Story, with Emma Roberts and Zach Galifianakis from a few years ago, where this kid gets put in after a suicide attempt, also very similar, into a mental institution, and he meets other people and falls in love with a girl who's also troubled and stuff. So that part was cool too, because it was just kind of building him up as a person. And then I have to agree and disagree about the direction. I thought the direction was very Kubrick-esque in a way that it was really visually stunning the whole time. And the main actor, I was surprised that it was Dan Stevens, who, if you don't know who Dan Stevens is, he was to me, I recognized him from this movie called The Guest that I saw on Netflix. The really cool, like, psychological thriller / action movie a few years ago. And he's going to be Beast in the upcoming Beauty and the Beast film next month.
Oh.
So he's kind of a breakout star right now, and he's a really good actor. He's handsome enough to be a leading man, but he's not, he has a handsome man syndrome where he can't express himself. He's very expressive and stuff. I thought his acting was really good.
I assume he'll be Beast for like the 5 minutes at the end after he's not the Beast anymore.
Well, and the motion capture. So
is
we'll
he?
give him credit
Okay,
for
all
that
right,
too.
just curious.
Yeah, so and I just was excited to see him in the lead role because I was like, cool, it's a really interesting character. We need an actor that can portray that. But then like the show is intentionally confusing. So we're all nerds. We have read comics. We know how this stuff works with consciousness and timelines and jumping back and forth. And the way I thought the show would go is he'll be Legion, and it'll cut back through time to show how he became, kind of like Daredevil did, where they show him as a kid with Stick and his dad and stuff and like learning how to be Daredevil, but we're also seeing what's happening now. But this show kind of does it in a weird way where you don't understand, and like even at the end, spoilers, where he meets up with the other mutants and the cool action shit happens and all of a sudden it becomes an X-Men movie, at the end of the show, like you're still like, but what does that girl do? And what does this girl do? And you were like kind of confused. Like obviously this guy can throw shit and he can do like basically anything with his mind, but you don't really understand the other girl's powers unless you have that, information beforehand. So I thought as soon as the music started and it pans out and the guy walks out of the room and you see all the government agents with guns everywhere, and it becomes like a movie, like a thriller sci-fi movie. That's when the whole show, like that's obviously the tone they're going to go for going forward. But the whole first half of the show I actually enjoyed more, where it was just kind of a personal story, and I didn't know what fucking show I was watching half the time, but it was all good for what it was. It's just really different.
Yeah, like
I went back and watched it twice. Watching it the second time, it wasn't confusing at all. Once I knew what was going on, it's everything that's happening is because of their powers and the way they use them and like even when he's getting interrogated and like talking about what's happening, like you don't really realize what's going on the first time you watch it, but everything he's describing and everything makes total sense the second time around. And I don't know, I mean,
the ending fixes it a lot.
Yeah, the ending, they kind of cleared everything up for sure.
Well, I thought, it was awesome that the way that, okay, so, they're in an insane asylum that's not really an insane asylum. It seems like it's a place where the government hides mutants. You know what I mean?
Right, that's the question. That's the only thing I was still wondering about. Are they all mutants in there? Or was it just him and the blonde chick? Like, because nobody else in there really seemed to have any powers. And was she pretending to be insane just to get put in there with him? Or was it just by chance that they met each other?
So that's one of the big comparisons that I draw to The Prisoner, is that you don't know. There could be, in The Prisoner, it's like the secret government facility that they put people in that they want to get information from. And there are a few, it's not just one person they're trying to get information from, it's maybe 10 or 20, and everybody else is like an actor or whatnot that's there. So let's pretend like it was just Legion or there was 2 or 3 people in there, then, they fill the place with real crazy people also to make it convincing to him that he's in an insane asylum. You know what I mean?
Mainly set up for a few specific people. And then, well, that's what's also cool about it. Aubrey Plaza, when she comes back dead, she, depending, we don't know whether or not she's actually, if she's a real spirit or she's somehow come back to talk to him, then she obviously knows about mutants and stuff too, because she's telling them that they're coming for him, and she knew what happened. Like they switched bodies, and like don't kid yourself, that was you that did that. She was just along for the ride. Like if that's reality and not just in his mind, then obviously she knows about mutants and something too. Right. But that's what's cool about it, is you don't know if she was real or not, or if that was just in his head.
Yeah, and like we said the whole thing could be in his head. He could
Yeah,
just
Well,
be a
still,
crazy
he could
person.
still be.
Yeah, and like the whole thing is like, they didn't really explain the incident that got him in there fully,
Right,
right?
right.
Did anyone know?
I mean,
No?
you assume.
I think
so-
mainly just when he blew out those cop windows, and just his powers going on, in the kitchen scene, and
Right, his
But
girlfriend.
no one saw him in that kitchen scene. And I'll say that when he has those weird hallucinations of that creepy, like fat
The troll.
thing with the yellow eyes,
The yellow
that
eyes
was pretty
devil.
fucking creepy.
Right.
Yeah.
So the girl, I thought that it was like he lived with his girlfriend, and then she came in and kind of ratted him out after the kitchen was
Yeah,
all messed
and-
up, sort of thing. And then he ended up in the cop car, blew out the cop windows, and that's when the government came in and swooped in and got him, sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Well, and he tried to
But-
kill
and that
himself.
plays
I
to
think
them,
him killing
sure.
himself.
Yeah.
I
his
thought he was
suicide
trying to kill.
attempt was-
I thought he was trying to kill himself in the insane asylum.
No, that was not in the asylum. That was
That
like
was
in his
weird too. They
apartment.
said they didn't find a rope, just rope burns on his neck. That was weird.
Yeah.
Like, can he like manifest just like burns
think
on his
so,
own
yeah.
neck?
I think he can manifest a noose or whatever. He's the
I want to
most
know if
powerful
Xavier's
ever.
going to be in the show. Do you think they'll ever like actually mention his father? Because he's supposed to
Yeah,
be
we'll see.
Professor Xavier's son.
Right.
Yeah.
And you see his mother, but you never see her being with anybody or explaining anything. But I mean, obviously, like with the premiere of a show, you want to have some mystery, some mysteriousness that will lead you into new plot lines, and you don't want to give everything away. But the problem I have with the show is, in the first episode, there were so many mysteries that didn't explain the plot in just this episode. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Right.
cool to like make me
Right.
want more and like wonder how far his powers go, or who's on his side, who isn't, who has powers, what are they? That kind of stuff is cool, and you could do that all in that 5 minute, piece at the end worth all the action. But the other parts of the show were just so confusing, and I'm not like one of those people that can't follow stuff. I hate when people like watch Game of Thrones and they're like, everyone's Irish with a beard and white, and I don't know who's who. And I'm like, whatever, you're racist. But I can always tell what's going on. But in this show, it was like intentionally screwing with you. He didn't know
Yeah.
what was real. She didn't know what was real. And then they kill off characters and they come back, like Aubrey Plaza. When she died, I was like, oh, that sucks, because she was kind of like the comedic relief.
Mhm.
And I like her and other things. So I was hoping she'd
Right,
get
yeah.
around, and with her spirit or whatever comes back, you're like, oh, okay, I guess they can just kind of keep people if they want, even if they die. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like, to be honest, the whole kind of setup of this first episode, anyways, is he crazy or is he not? And how much of what he's kind of experiencing is because they've got him drugged up. Like, it
Yeah.
seems like if he truly escapes that place, gets around the mutants, they get all the drugs out of his system and tell him that, hey, it's cool. You're a mutant. Don't
Yeah.
sweat. The stuff's weird. And
Yeah.
we'll figure it
Yeah,
out.
these
then.
voices you're hearing,
Right,
are
are
real.
real. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So,
Yeah, right.
yeah, when I wonder if the show will kind of become more level or whatnot. You know what I mean? And if this first one was just that way intentionally, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it
and I-
should.
And I liked the whole. I didn't think it was really cheesy at all in the beginning. I don't know. I kind of I knew it was going to be weird, so I kind of intentionally got myself into the right mindset before I started watching it, and then I watched it with headphones. And if you rewatch it, I would suggest watching it with headphones, because you can hear there's constant. The voices are so constant, even if they're really quiet whispers. Like when you listen to it with headphones and
Right.
all the stuff that's going on, like the whole time you're hearing the voices in your head, and you can kind of see where he's coming from, and then his dreams and stuff. I mean, I liked all of it. I mean,
That's a cool touch.
Sure.
Yeah, it was smart. I mean, I thought it was directed really well, acted really well. I didn't
Yeah,
really
it
have
was
any
good.
problem. I didn't find cheesiness in any of it. It was just that parts of it were so hard to keep track of, because also the timeline kept changing, and you're like, when is he at his mom's house in the basement?
Right.
Is that he
So
broke
she's,
out? But is
she's
he?
a sister,
Is,
not
is,
his mom.
is she
sister.
like when the mom opens the door
Sister.
in the
Sister.
last scene? He was still
Sister.
in the body of the girl. Was it his sister?
Sister.
Sister.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, she's a little older. I thought it was his mom, but when she opens the door for him and he's there and he's like, I got out, I was like expecting her to be like, who are you? Because I thought he was still in the body of the girl.
Yeah, no, somehow she
Oh.
transferred him.
It just
When
jumped
he
around
changed to
stuff,
himself, it was somehow, what I'm assuming is that her power to swap bodies with people wears off after a certain amount of time.
But they never showed you like the moment when he stopped being in her body.
Yeah, it was in the
They
coffee
never
shop.
explained like when that ends.
Yeah, it was at the coffee shop.
Drinking that coffee shop with the luggage next to him. He was in her body at first.
Yep.
And then he flashed to himself, looked at himself, and was like,
and then he started touching himself and.
Yeah, he's
like
but the way that certain things are directed, like if you've seen like Freaky Friday and stuff like that, they don't always make it that like obvious. Sometimes you see the actor even though he's in the body because you're seeing him, and so that they give the actor more face time. So I didn't know what was happening, if it was really him changing or if he just was back in control of his mind.
Sure.
And because they play with the science of it, it's like certain things are meant to be intentionally weird, and certain things you have to just kind of like hang on for the ride. And I was just hanging on for the ride, and at the end it made sense. But I think for your average viewer, it's a really jarring episode.
Sure.
So hopefully,
Sure.
like you said, it'll be more grounded going forward.
I think it was just really straightforward. Like they just straight up switched bodies there, and like but that's what's that's what's cool about it, is you really don't know what's you're not sure exactly what's going on, but at that point they switched back like immediately, and I thought that was pretty clear.
Well, it's just like they over-explain some stuff that we already know. Like in the first 2 minutes, you see him like moving shit with his mind. So they're playing like, can he move shit with his mind? Like we already know that. Quit explaining that. Explain the other shit that's really confusing.
Right.
That's what I wanted more of.
Yeah, totally. And so we got to move on. But I just got a few other points here that I made about it. Is that I just liked. To myself, to be honest, Casey, like I get what you're saying 100%. We've talked with me and Corey, get our parents into some of these shows that we're into, and I just remember like some of the shows that are a lot less confusing than this, and they're like, well, I had to watch it twice to kind of get everything. Like they may have to.
And I'm not that kind of person either.
Right.
Like,
your average viewer may have to watch that episode 4 times before they kind of are certain about it.
And to be fair, I watched it. I ended that episode for the first time 10 minutes before we started recording the show. So it's very fresh in my mind. I'm still kind of working through it.
Yeah, but
I'm telling you, if you watch it a second time, it's really not confusing at all. It all makes perfect sense.
Right.
I think I'm going to, because I was telling my girlfriend that it was really good, and so I think I'm going to rewatch it with her later, because I think she'll really dig it.
Yeah, so then just a couple other things that I had to just point out here that I have in my notes is that, first of all, the troll guy, we talked about him a little bit earlier, but obviously there's something scary going on is that in his head, or is that thing in another dimension, or what's going on with that? But definitely kind of shades of the upside down from Stranger Things, you know what I mean? When he gets
or the rabbit in Donnie Darko or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I thought it was like part of him. Like a dark part of him somewhere in his subconscious, somewhere you can't control. Yeah, that's how I'd say it.
Yeah, totally. And then the two other things I had is I thought that it was cool that when they did switch bodies, the things, when his girlfriend was in control of his body, how she just effed everything up, like shows really how powerful he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
the
how
walls
hard
thing
he's
was really
working.
cool.
Yeah, the walls thing, and like I say, just the murder and stuff that happened. In that
I wish
moment.
more horror movies had horror elements like this show did in one episode, because the creepy demon guy and the walls being closed with people screaming and pounding on him from the inside, that was genius. Yep. I was like, that's creepy.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, and the body swap. Body swap scene I thought was awesome, because you don't know what's going on at first, and all of a sudden he's screaming like no, and you're like, what the fuck is he freaking out about? She's okay. Like she looks like she just got knocked out for a second, but she's not dead, obviously. Why is he freaking out so bad right now? And then you realize that
that's
her. Yep. Like, oh fuck, I'm in his body. Like, this is not gonna go well.
Also, that whole not touch your skin thing made me immediately feel like I was watching X-Men, which I think they want, because it's like Rogue. So
Yep.
That was a cool nod too.
Yep, and just the one last point that I had about the kind of cool moments in the show is the moment when he's in the table and he's like, wait a second, you guys are afraid of me. You know what I mean? Like everything changed.
Jumps at him.
Yeah, everything changed at that moment. You know what I mean?
And then he shot it in his face.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that was
Plain Jane's addiction. That part was sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, totally.
No, and I don't want you to think I'm negative on the show. I really liked it. I just think that it's like 3 different or 4 different movies in one episode.
Sure.
So it was like origin story. No, now it's a romance. No, now it's a crime thriller with the government after him. Oh, nope, now it's an X-Men movie. I was like, damn, that's a lot of shit.
For sure.
It was also a long episode. I think it was 90 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was good.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll see where it goes from here. It could go anywhere, So
Yeah.
Yep, totally cool.
Yeah.
All right.
For sure.